There's a bunch of rumors going around at the moment about Charles, Elon Musk, Starlink, and a whole bunch of other really interesting things that could be big for the Cardano ecosystem. Now, I just have to preference, these are rumors at the moment and nothing is confirmed, but my gosh, they are juicy rumors. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Learn Cardano podcast. I'm Peter Buey and let's get straight into it. And this is Charles here talking on X Space a little bit earlier this week. And let me play this one for you so you guys get up to date with what potentially could be happening here.
I can't talk about them yet, but they're fucking incredible and awesome. I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you guys, but in a few days I'm flying somewhere to go and meet with some people about something. And it's, if we can close this deal, holy shit, it's going to be first the most awesome thing I've ever done in my entire life. And also one of the most dangerous and difficult things I've ever done in my entire life. And that's saying something. I've done some crazy shit.
All right. So what could be the most dangerous thing that he could do in his life? And that's probably being sent up in a spaceship. Yep. So right now, a couple of days later, he's flown out to the location where he is. And this just happens to be where SpaceX is. Now, let me just get the location here. I did have it a second ago. Hawthorne. And what happens to be at Hawthorne? SpaceX's headquarters. It does state here that Elon Musk is looking at moving the headquarters of SpaceX over to Brownsville, Texas. But at the moment, it seems that a lot of operations, design, everything else is still happening there in Hawthorne. So this is all quite interesting here. Charles is meeting or doing something in regards to SpaceX. That's the main rumor here. Now let's break this down even further. So this is what Plutus Staking says. Soon the normals will connect the dots on the Charles and Elon collab that is aiming to build out the future fabric of finance on X with Cardano as the base layer. Interesting. So he does explain this a little bit more. So let me just read this to you. Hear me out. Elon mentioned X will run half of the global financial system via a new model. He also does microdosing. Now this is because Charles just mentioned that he does microdose, and that's why Charles now has a picture of a wolf as his profile, because while who was microdosing on ketamine, he imagined that he was in a wolf's body. But this is another weird story. Anyway, Charles recently took ketamine, has gone full wolf mode, and is working on connecting half of crypto as side chains or integrating natively with ADA. The end goal is for X to run on Cardano's decentralized infrastructure, creating a new financial powerhouse. Now, let me play you the clip here of Elon talking about this.
Essentially, if done right, the X would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number. Okay. I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used to thinking about banks. Mm-hmm. Just the most efficient database for the thing that is money. Like I said, like least amount of fraud. Everything's real time. And if it involves money in any way, it can be dealt with seamlessly on one node.
Now you listen to this and think, what is he talking about? How is this going to be even possible? How are you going to replace traditional banks with payments through X or something? Now, if you look from a different perspective, for example, in China, the biggest payment platform is WeChat, a chat application, something that people use on a regular basis just to communicate to each other, like X. And to change X to a payment platform where you can go into a merchant, a store, whatever it is, and use your X app to make a payment isn't really far-fetched, because a huge portion of the world is already doing that with their other applications. So it's not too outrageous to actually think that this could possibly happen. And to actually tie this in and use blockchain in the background to actually make and be those payment rails, it's not too far-fetched, is it? So it all could very well be possible. And previously, Charles and Elon have had exchanges about potentially integrating in and creating identity systems within X to beat scammers and whatnot. So I know they've been in conversations and they've been talking about things, but of course they're not going to reveal anything. But this theory here isn't that far-fetched and could possibly happen. I'm pretty excited about that one. It sounds super interesting, and maybe that could be it. Now, we do know that Elon is a massive fan of Doge. He just mentions Doge, or now the Department of Government Efficiency, or whatever meme is going to come up next. But this here was quite an interesting post. So Coinbase released its Coinbase 50 index. So this is an index of the top 50 tokens within their platform, and you can buy the index and just ride the wave with the top 50 performing indexed tokens. So it's a really cool product overall. But here, this is looking at Cardano here, 1.46% of the top 6 index, and Doge having 3. So it's almost twice as much in the weighting there. But we have a look a bit further here. Just wait until we are their DeFi layer. So Cardano is looking at that level of interoperability to give chains such as Doge, which doesn't have a strong big DeFi layer and smart contracts, to be able to connect with it and become that interoperable layer and provide DeFi for their ecosystem. So all these Doge holders out there that are just holding it and buying and selling could actually participate in Cardano DeFi in the future and play around like that and actually do something with their Doge token. So this is really interesting. Could Elon possibly be looking at Doge, for example, to integrate that into X and make that its value transfer layer, and then possibly even integrating in Cardano and offering DeFi products, borrowing, lending, and all that through what Cardano has to offer with interoperability? So the possibilities here are super interesting, but these are all rumors. I really do have to emphasize that at the moment. Now, for those that haven't caught up and are wondering what on earth and how would it be possible for Cardano to be a DeFi layer for another chain, let me catch you up here. BitcoinOS is one of the first steps for this, and they're going to launch. The predicted launch date is January 2025. So only a month and a half away, possibly at the earliest, where we are going to see Cardano interacting with the Bitcoin layer and providing DeFi to Bitcoin holders. Let me play you this clip here.
I saw a post about how you guys were going to get into BitcoinOS.
Yeah.
Which is essentially turning Cardano into a layer 2, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like
it's
that.
I'm sure the numerous Cardano fans in the chat will disagree with the with the semantics of that. But this integration is, it's great for Cardano because it's bringing kind of Bitcoin liquidity into Cardano's ecosystem. But Nick is very, very bullish on Bitcoin. Bitcoin ecosystem, Bitcoin DeFi, Bitcoin layer 2s. He's doing a lot of research into some of those upcoming projects. And funnily enough, actually, I should have mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Ethereum. That could be a threat to Ethereum that maybe people aren't taking enough notice of. Because obviously Ethereum's benefit at the moment is that if you want to build something and leverage its security, it's the best. It's the most decentralized after Bitcoin. Right. And obviously, it was created because Bitcoin was so difficult to build on. But now that these layer 2 solutions are coming for Bitcoin, I think that could present, a bit of a threat to Ethereum because obviously the Bitcoin network is even more decentralized and even more secure. It's the most secure network on the planet. So that could be a bit of a headwind for Ethereum, and indeed like the wider crypto ecosystem as well. I think there's definitely a lot of potential there. BitcoinOS, and there are a lot of projects working on things like that.
Right. So that's the really exciting thing about what Cardano's possibilities in the future, or very soon, I should say, being a DeFi layer for Bitcoin and then starting to be DeFi layers for other chains out there as well. So this is really exciting stuff, really big development. So could this theory be right? Could Charles be meeting with Elon to make this all happen and start integrating in financial systems into X to make it the world's biggest financial product, really, integrated in with a chat and communications platform. This is huge. If it is, like I said, it's a rumor. But this is what I think is actually happening. And this is the World Mobile team playing around with what Starlink has to offer. So for those that don't know, World Mobile is a deep in play that is looking at decentralizing mobile phone towers and putting that in the hands of its holders, its community. So it's very similar to like Helium, if you've heard of that one. But World Mobile is definitely gaining traction here and is getting bigger and bigger. And one of the things that they're looking at doing is to have Starlink as a base node, and then having air nodes, which are essentially their mobile phone towers, connected to that Starlink base, and then having the the connectivity happen from there. So let me just play this clip from an X space about this conversation.
In the exact words of our friend at Starlink, instead of having 4 Starlinks in one area, you have 1 Starlink with one of our air nodes, and which makes, obviously more sense from a network perspective, but also it makes sense economically.
Yeah, so the first thing I mentioned there, that economic efficiency. Instead of having those 4 Starlinks in an area, they can have 1 Starlink and then air nodes further down for that end connectivity for the end user. So it makes it a lot more cost effective for Starlink's operations here for internet service providers. Let me just continue this.
This is it. As I was explaining, I think this is a really great direct answer for the issue that we saw here, especially is it would have saved us from deploying like 15 or 20 of the mobile minis, which are great. They're a great product and they work really well. But it would have saved us if we would have been able to put it in the mountains and had these here and deployed maybe 3 Starlinks versus like 20 because we put them in certain locations, and we asked you guys to be clever of like, where should these go? Put up the Starlinks at those locations, the big boys, high bandwidth. The enterprise ones? Yeah. What I want to do is next.
So I just want to highlight this part of the post here. And this was all when Charles donated his Black Hawk and sent resources over to that natural disaster that happened. I think it was in North Carolina. There wasn't too much media coverage of it here in Australia, so I don't know all the details, but it was a massive rainfall event. A lot of roads were disconnected and communities were affected by that massive downpour of rain through a tropical, a cyclone. What do you call them over there? Hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever it is. But here we go. Let me just read this. On hearing this, Operation Connect the Disconnected was born. With the support of Charles, we sent teams equipped with portable 18 air nodes utilizing Starlink backhaul to the hardest hit locations via Black Hawk helicopter. So the backhaul is the technical term there. So Starlink provides the internet access for all of those air nodes. Those air nodes can be deployed over a wide area, and that creates that connectivity so people can actually communicate with the outside world. When all the lines are down, when all the mobile phone towers are gone, how are you going to communicate? How's your phone going to connect and talk to other people and ask for help? This is how it was done. The air nodes provide that layer of connectivity so that you could actually communicate, ask for help, and get people in and out of the areas. So this is probably the likely thing that is happening here. What Charles is doing in Hawthorne and talking to the SpaceX team, or maybe even the Starlink team to be more exact, to look into deploying these out for the World Mobile team. So that's my theory of what's actually happening at the moment. Now, this last rumor that I'll talk about is the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon and Swami. I've forgotten his name. I think it's Swami. This guy here, I've forgotten his name. I can't remember. I'm not really deep into American politics, but they are looking at heading up that department and looking at ways to create efficiency in the US government. They're being appointed to the positions. They still need to be voted in by the Senate and all that as well. So it's not official yet. But one of the things that they are looking at building is a federal blockchain-based election voting and identity verification system. According to sources familiar with the matter, the system will be built in partnership between X, Cardano, Hyperledger, and Hedera. This is really good. Cardano's got a massive head start in regards to voting within the ecosystem. They've got their Atala Prism, now known as Identis, under Hyperledger, and there's a lot of things that can be utilized there and implemented into a decentralized voting platform that will help prevent fraud. So according to sources, President Trump insists on implementing a system to eliminate voter fraud as he fears foul play in 2028. So this is definitely something that could be a thing as well. I mentioned it in my last video. If you haven't checked that one out yet, links in the top right-hand corner there. Check out that video about how Ripple and Cardano are combining forces and could possibly change a lot of things within the US as well. So this is all very bullish news, very bullish rumors, I should stress. All of them are really cool. But let me know in the comments down below what you think is a plausible outcome from these rumors. What do you think is truth here? There is something happening. Charles did sign an NDA. We just got to wait until it's disclosed so that we know exactly what's going on here. Anyway, they all sound really good to me. Now let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet done so already, make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, notification bell on your way out. I'll see you guys in the next video.